Shalom and good day. This is Tehillim29 back again for graphic novels I have recently read through, and starting off with the list of graphic novels I've read through in this time period. So we have Excellence, I think that's volume 2 or 3. We have Burning Rage by Dan Jurgens, definitely worth the read and the pickup. I remember enjoying reading the singles. It was great coming back to reread the series again for a second time. We have volume of Radiant Black, volume 2. We have Legends of the Dark Knight, but I think there's meant to be another one connected to this, because there's meant to be a story, not in this one, but I think another one, which has Damien and Tim and some of the other Robins together working on a project. We have Gunslinger Spawn, volume 2, along with volume 1, Ordinary Gods by Carl Higgins. We have Damned by Colin Bunn. Really enjoyed the series. It's sort of like a team-up series. What if the mafioso teamed up with demons? Very interesting story. Of course, Gunslinger Spawn, volume 1, and Black Adam. Moving into some of the bigger omnibuses, so we've got the TMNT collection, or Best of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection, volume 3, and Gotham Academy, and last but not least, Pennyworth. So what I'll do is I'll start off right here with Pennyworth, which I just finished. So I must admit, this was actually a really good little short story, which centers around Alfred Pennyworth and his past, even though it is also connected somewhat to the series that they've had on TV. But I'd like to get around to watching that series. With what I've read here, is it interesting enough that I'd want to check out the series? I believe so. To which I'll give the story and the art together probably a 7.5 out of 10. As it sort of like follows the journey of Alfred Pennyworth. We get to see a lot in regards to his past, present to eventually future. And it also discusses sort of like a love interest of his and many other things that have happened in this DC universe. Moving into the Peter J. Tomasi, Black Adam Dark Age. Was really interesting story. It was nice to learn more around the character of Black Adam with the story. But it would have been... one thing I like about the character of Black Adam is that he's a villain, and he should remain a villain. But for the story by Peter J. Tomasi, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Gunslinger Spawn, I think what I might do is I'll wait until I get cover volume 2, because I've got the Damned there, which I'll rate all together as one story. So Damned, volumes 1, 2, and 3 by Colin Bunn. My goodness, this was a very interesting, also somewhat terrifying look into this world, where you get to see mafia, mobsters, and demons. And it's interesting because one of these characters ends up making like some type of agreement with a demon, and that also plays a part throughout volume 1, 2, and 3. Like there's even a time to which the character should have died, but he didn't. But you also learn that he's got like a brother as well. And of course they have some things of their own code to which they still must respect. And when they sort of like go to visit the areas where the demons are, you get to see how grotesque they are and their practices are. And yes, you do get to see the land of the villain here, and it's really well done. For it, I will give it an 8 out of 10, because if I ended up getting a issue of this through my LCS, which was sort of like sent as a bit of a freebie, I'm glad I decided to pick up the 3 volumes, because it was definitely worth it. So moving into Ordinary Gods by Carl Higgins. This was an interesting story, but there are some places where I felt like it didn't know where it was going. But there were other places where I sort of enjoyed. So for this, I will give it probably a 6.5 out of 10. I am waiting to get volume 2 of this. So hopefully volume 2, it will increase. Now, moving into volume 2 of Gunslinger Spawn and also volume 1 of Gunslinger Spawn, I remember picking up some of these issues in regards to, say, the earlier of the part of the series, but once getting around to sort of like earlier to the further parts in regards to trades, it was really nice to see where this story was going, to which I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Legends of the Dark Knight. This was actually a really good series. Definitely an 8 out of 10. It did have many different stories, not just for Derek Robertson, but there were some other stories in there that I enjoyed. Moving to the next thing, we have Radiant Black, and this is sort of like a bit of a catch-up between like some of the earlier issues of the series. I do have the next volume in tow, but that'll be covering, or that will probably be covered in another video. But for this one, I'll give it probably a 6.5 out of 10. Moving into Titans Burning Rage by Dan Jurgens. This is fantastic. I enjoyed a story here. We have Tim Drake, we have Starfire, and many other members that make up the Titans. Definitely check it out. 8.5 out of 10. And moving into last but not least, Excellence by Brandon Thomas. For this, I will give the art and the rating about a 6.5 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.